Since summer is in full swing here in Las Vegas, we loaded up the dogs in the Jeep and headed up into the mountains to hopefully find some cooler temperatures for a hike. We started out on Lower Wheeler Wash Road, where we aired down and prepared to head into the higher elevations. We were happy to be joined by Terry and his Bronco, Betty. Our plan was to head up and explore what I think is called Clark Canyon. The trail started in the desert, full of Joshua trees, but eventually made its way into the pines at higher elevations. The road was easy and graded, and the dogs were hopeful they would be able to get out and run around soon. At the end of the trail, we found some old equipment. Terry said it was an old sawmill, just like the one his grandpa used to build his house many years ago. This long tube here is an old steam boiler. This was an incredibly simple and efficient way of producing steam to power the sawmill. Water filled the small boiler, except for a network of tubes filled with hot air running throughout the boiler. Underneath, a fire could be lit with whatever scrap wood was lying around. The sealed cylindrical shell kept the internal pressure stabilized between 80 and 150 psi. This pressurized steam was used to power the adjacent sawmill.
Track. So you see the nails on this track and that other long one? See that every so often there's nails, screws. That's the width of the track.
Oh.
Those bolts would hold down the track and they track it down this way. And whenever they tighten that belt, it would tighten the screw that runs this thing up and down. Right.
That's cool.
My grandpa built one of those. I used to help him run it. We took up all the wood out of the lake. Made knock it out. Took the engine out of his car. Carbureted.
At this point, we had a bit of trouble with the Jeep. It was sputtering and didn't want to start, and there was a strong smell of gasoline.
It smells very strongly of gasoline.
Sean took off the air filter to see if that was the problem. It looked relatively clean, so he put it back, and we were able to get the Jeep to start, and it gave us no more problems. As Sean drove the Jeep down the hill to lower elevations, hoping that would make it happier, I hiked down the road with Drax and Rocket. We enjoyed the cool mountain air, and the dogs enjoyed all the fun smells. We saw lots of pretty flowers in all kinds of vibrant colors, from the oranges and whites to the beautiful purples. All of the flowers were in their summer bloom. After walking for about 20 minutes, Rocket found a shaded spot on the trail and laid down. He had declared his walk over, and I got on the radio to ask Sean to come back up with the Jeep to get him.
Let me know.
Rocket was very excited when the Jeep came into view, and he happily hopped inside to be driven the rest of the way. Drax, on the other hand, did not want his adventure to end, so he and I continued exploring a while longer.
This is cool. Looks like you could totally camp back up in here.
We found a really cool cliff face, and even a small cave that looks like it had hosted many campfires. We continued down the trail until we came to meet back up with Sean, Terry, and Rocket, who had parked up in a beautiful shaded spot. Drax and Rocket were happy to be reunited and set about exploring their new area. I particularly enjoyed the Jeep stump.
It's Jeep Stump.
After eating some sandwiches and fighting off the evening bug swarm, we decided to jump back in the Jeep and find somewhere that was hopefully a little less buggy. A few minutes down the trail, we found another, slightly more exposed, and therefore had less bugs kind of spot, to stop and enjoy the sunset. We stayed a while and watched the shadows lengthen and the sun slowly dip behind the mountains. Then we decided we'd better get going or we'd have to finish the trail in the dark. Terry happily volunteered to drive in the dark since he's given Betty some awesome off-road lights. But since it was getting late, we headed back down the canyon. On the way, we were treated to a stunning sunset. In retrospect, I wish we would have sat and watched it a bit longer, even if it was already late and we had to work in the morning. The last of the sunset was fading as we aired the tires back up for the highway drive home. It was a wonderful escape from the heat, and the dogs were good and tired from their hike. Thanks for riding along on our Sunday afternoon adventure.